Beautiful ladies. My name is Mrs. Jamietta Corsi. I am a licensed social worker and therapist in the state of Maryland. And I'm just here to have some conversation with you ladies. It is going to be interactive. So feel free to jump in, throw some words out there if you need to, whatever comes to your heart. I kind of just want to do a check in and have an opportunity to answer some questions that people have anonymously placed in this box. It's an opportunity for you to interact with a licensed therapist and then also get some support for follow up. I was speaking with Imani, and we talked about how it's so important to finish out a process once you start it. And throughout my journey of becoming a therapist and attending events similar to this, I noticed that sometimes we can touch on some topics that are very deep, that can open up some emotional wounds, that can touch on some trauma from your past. And I just want you all to know, if you take away nothing else, please don't stop here. Because once you open that door, it's open. It's not going to close when you go home. And it is going to show up in your life. So it's important that whichever route you decide to take, whether it's therapy, life coach, whatever works for you, that you continue to do that work, because once you open that door, baby, it's open. The emotions are going to flow, the feelings are going to flow. It will impact your day to day life. So if you take nothing else away from this conversation, please continue the work that you have started today, which each and every one of Imani's guests that she's had here, whether it be by following up with myself about therapeutic services, or following up with another provider that's here today, or even getting a recommendation, right? Maybe I don't work for you. That's fine. It ain't for everybody, okay? But therapy is like shopping. Every therapist is not going to work for you. It's okay. You can't stop there. You go to somebody else. You have another consultation. When I do consultations, I always ask people, do you have another one set up? Or am I your end all be all? Because I'm not here to save nobody, right? I'm here to help you along your journey. But if it doesn't work, if it doesn't feel like it's gonna fit, then you don't start there. Stop there, right? Because you started for a reason. So I just want to encourage you all, after this, after today, go home, decompress, have a great Sunday. But please remember to continue the work. It doesn't stop here. So if you be crying on Thursday, don't act like I didn't tell you. Okay? Might need it there. It's my mic. I can take it off. Is it? All right. Well, I can take mine off. That's fine. No, it's not. Here, catch it. No. I don't need it. All right, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I told you that I was therapist. Of the world. We're very unique people, and yeah, I'm right here with y'all. So let's get started. What else about me? I'm a mama. I got kids. I work a lot of jobs, so I get the struggles. Okay. All right. This one has three questions. Three things that they were releasing. The first thing says, I release worrying about things that I can't control. So let's start with that. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say regarding that statement? Any specific questions? Yes.
I don't have a question or anything. Well, scratch it. This is our guys, sorry. Well, I just wanted to say, because this is like you're live on this check-in, but anytime I think about things that I can't control, I always say that's God's portion. Like, I just let God handle it. Or when I just think about that, I literally wrote that down yesterday, so it just came to my mind. So I just wanted to share that. Like, whatever you can't control is God's portion. Amen.
I love the way you put that. You're a part of the experience, so show up if your part and allow other people, whether, God, whether it be the people in your life, your partner, your children, allow them to show up and do their part. You can't do everybody's part. You can't do your boss part. Like, you just, it will never work. We're just one person. So when it comes to things that you can't control, what I would say is, as a human, I think we all have the desire to control, right? If you could control your life and have it the way you want it, I'm sure that you would. But there's a reason and a purpose why things don't go that way, because that takes the experience out of it. How do you learn lessons if you never fail? Right? How are you going to learn from life if you don't go through those experiences? So really lean into the process of life. You'll probably hear me talk a lot about the process, and let go of those things that you can't control. The next one says,
That's what I said. I'm gonna turn it down.
okay. I release allowing anger to control my life, and I choose continuous joy. How many people feel like they have some anger in them today? They're not hard, y'all. Oh, y'all not angry?
Not today.
About none? That's nice. That's nice. Can someone share with me how they typically deal with anger, especially since we got a lot of people who aren't angry? How y'all deal with anger?
I'm a lower upper, and then I talk like not to others. Like
You gonna crash out first.
yeah, and then I'm gonna cry about it, and then I feel better.
Alright, that's good.
I shut
Yep.
down. I
Shut
shut
down.
down and then go to the gym.
Okay. When you leave the gym, how do you feel?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
Okay.
Let me throw some weight around. I'm good.
Okay, that's a good way to release it. Anyone else want to share?
I yell.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I know that's
I just
right.
go in my car and yell.
That's great.
Like, I hope nobody walks by and thinks that something's wrong, but yeah.
That's great. Well, it seems like we have a room full of people who know how to handle their anger, and that's amazing. But for those of you who don't, what I would say about anger is that it's a feeling, and so is joy. Whoever wrote this, they were very specific in writing, I choose, right? You have a choice of how you want to feel. Anger doesn't have to define you. So often with so many black women in here, right? The angry black woman, right? And people sometimes use anger as an adjective versus a feeling. It's a feeling, and feelings aren't facts. So if you're feeling angry, it doesn't make you an angry person. I feel like feelings are like a little alert system. That's how I explain it to people. When you have a feeling, it's alerting your body to pay attention to something that's happening. Whether it's something on the outside or something on the inside, right? If you feel sadness, if you feel happiness, if you feel angry, your body is trying to tell you, hey, pay attention to something that's going on. So explore your feelings with curiosity. Why am I angry? If it's because of somebody else, then you probably shouldn't be, because you can't control other people anyway. Right? And so it's okay to feel it and explore it. Why is this feeling here? But then you let it go. You don't hold on to it. But sometimes we let the emotions consume us, and they're not facts. They don't have to become your reality. Alright, so the next one says, I release holding on to relationships that aren't beneficial to my growth. That's a big one. But something that I'll say about that is, releasing the relationship doesn't always lead to healing. Just because you ran away from that relationship doesn't mean you healed whatever was going on in you, right? And so then you go to the next person, or even if it's a friendship, right? And you're like, no, I'm gonna cut her off. I'm done with her. I'm gonna block her, or him, whatever the case may be. And then you run into another person that you like to start a friendship with, and you see some of the same problems coming up. Or in romantic relationships with your partner. Right? And so just because you close that door doesn't equal healing. Releasing that relationship doesn't equal healing. And so that's what we talk about, continuing to do the work. How did we even get to that point of wanting to release a relationship that you once wanted to start? Yep.
So I think that a lot of people like take pride in saying that I'm
person off, oh, I'm cutting these people out of my life, oh, everybody can't go. And those are all true things. But I think sometimes, like, something that Lauren London wrote, and it stuck with me, and she said, instead of fighting the currents, I'm flowing with the waves. And so I want to live my life, and I am living my life in a way that I'm gonna be me. And if you continue to show up, so be it. If you don't, so be it. And I just have to be okay with me and whoever is supposed to be here or not. So it could be friend from the crib. It could be somebody I met yesterday. I'm going to just be me and see how things go. And sometimes relationships fade. Sometimes they aren't what they used to be. And I don't want to just write things off unless there's a reason. Like sometimes it's like you're not an everyday talk person anymore, but it's okay. So I just look at friendship, relationships, whether it's family or not. It's really the other part of it is I really want to be open to, instead of just saying who I want to cut out and get rid of. I'm open. I'm open to new relationships. I'm open to meeting new people. I'm open to finding myself in a room where I need to be and around other people that I haven't experienced to see what's next for me. So I would love for people to focus more on who you want to be open to more than who you getting rid of.
Right.
If you get rid of everybody will be gone.
Yeah, definitely shifting the focus. People grow apart. People go through things as well, right? So even giving grace. Sometimes you may have a moment where you and your friend that was an everyday friend, now y'all once a month friend, and then 2 months, and 2 years go by, and that friend is in a different space, you're in a different space, and now y'all everyday friends again, right? There's nothing wrong with healthy space and allowing people the time to grow and the time to get the lessons that they need to be. We're all going through it, and nobody is coming to save any of us, right? You might want to help your friend, you might want to help your kid, but they have the ability to make their own choices, right? And you can't do it for them. So allowing people the space to grow and not just being the type of person that is like, oh, you gotta get on the boat or get off, we sailing off without you. Like that, you may be blocking out a blessing that's for you. Whether you and that person talk every day or they might call you 1 month and say, hey, I got such and such for you, cross my mind. But if you shut that communication off completely, not knowing that they were going through hell, like, is that fair? You create an unknown resistance in your life. People are in your life for a reason. They don't just come into your life for no reason. Whether you're learning something from them, whether you're growing together, but it's nothing wrong with healthy space. And being like, I love that you said, I'm more focused on me. Be comfortable with yourself and what type of friend you are and what type of partner you are. Let them go through what they go through. Show up for you first. I saw a couple hands in there. Go ahead, ladies.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback off what you said, sweetheart. A lot of times, you're growing at a capacity that someone can't view you at, right? So they're only going to view you as far as their growth spurt.
Yeah.
So even with my relationships, people only wanted to see me as one way, whereas I evolve every second, every minute, every hour of the day. But they were still stuck at that particular person who allowed them to be whoever they wanted to be.
Right.
They were comfortable in me being that way. They were comfortable in my insecurity. They were comfortable in my low self-esteem. So once I started doing my work, and then I was like, okay, why do I keep attracting people who were so comfortable with me at my lowest? I had to do that on my own, right? So as I continued to grow, they kept fighting on that part. And I was like, yo, I love you. I still rock with you, but this is no longer who Charvez is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that person anymore. So as I tell people that come in my life, I'm gonna change.
Yeah.
You might not like it, but all I ask is that you respect it. And as I change, I'm hoping that you adjust your vision of me at the same time.
Yeah.
That's great.
Seven.
might have families attached to people. Like, for a really good example, my brother just had a baby a year ago, so she was almost one, but him and his girlfriend got into some type of domestic whatever dispute, and he's laying in the hospital on his deathbed. But I had to bring it to myself to have a conversation with her, and I'm like, y'all going through something, but that don't have nothing to do with this baby. So you have connections with people, and so sometimes what worked for me, and this might help other people, like you ladies are saying, is just reprioritizing people. Like, they might not be number one on the list no more, but maybe they could be number 50. You know, and like just trying to keep yourself, like you said, at the top of the list. So sometimes you don't have to cut them off, just move them lower on your priority list.
I love that. I love that. And one thing about boundaries, we talk about boundaries a lot. But the reality is, for everybody, it's not easy to set boundaries, especially when it's the person that you love, especially, you know, when there are feelings, emotions, babies attached, you know. It's not that easy to set that boundary. And so one thing that I'll say about boundaries, and something that I like to share with my clients, is make sure you're okay with your boundary before you set it.
Yeah.
Right? You can't set a boundary that you ain't gonna talk to that man and you keep ignoring that man, but then when you at home lonely one night, you call him. What's the point in setting the boundary? So that's just another thing that I want to put out there for, you know, people who are from this area and a little more successful than, you know, some other people. You may have family members who often want to pull, and you decide to set a boundary, and you're good with your boundary for 30 days, and then they call you with their sob story and you give in. You can't do that. You gotta respect your own boundary, because now you're disrespecting yourself. There was a reason that you set that boundary, right? So that's the other thing that I'll throw out there about that point in relationships. All right, let's move on. For this one, it says, I am enough and my past doesn't define me. I'm asking for my power back from those who are gone and didn't deserve my love and energy. Wow, that was a deep one. So what do you do when you lose your power? What does that mean? Anybody want to share? Anybody feel like they've lost their power?
At one point in time.
Yeah, at one point in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Pretty much just getting too much of myself. When I give too much of myself to other people, I lose a sense of myself, and I don't like that. Or if I'm giving myself to things that no longer serve me, I could literally feel the cloudiness in my life, in my brain, opposed to like if I'm focused on my goals, if I'm focused on just being productive, being proactive, and pretty much just the company I keep. 9 times out of 10, it always has to do with the energy. Whatever type of energy I have around me, it plays a major effect on my mind and how I view things. So definitely the energy I keep. If it's not good, I'm losing some type of sense of something.
When's the time you lost your power?
This is kind of deep,
Okay.
but when I was married, and I will say that when people feel like they have you in this bubble, because they feel like, oh, I gave you what you wanted, right? They will then take that and say, this will be a power move for me to belittle you, so you would think that you're not worth anything outside of me. And that went on for 3 years, until one day I woke up and was like, you don't serve me anymore. This doesn't serve me, and I would rather, how can I say this? I would rather break my daughter's heart and explain to them later, and be there to mend their hearts, than to let them watch me break to my lowest, right? And so I think that was when I lost my power, is when I started allowing people to determine how my life should be, right? Because you're a wife, you know, so you feel like you're just only a wife and a mother, you're nothing outside of that. And so Now, 5 years later, I'm on my own. I have my children. Needless to say, they don't have a great relationship with their dads, but I had to allow them to determine that on their own without me bashing or belittling them in front of them. So now it's, Mom, I don't want to deal with him today. You know, I'll talk to him on the weekend because he's draining my energy and I can't focus.
Let me just throw in
I can respect that.
one thing that some moms do is like try to cover
Yes.
for their child's father
Mhm.
because you want your kids to see him how you see him with all the potential, even though he's not showing up and doing any of that. And so you try to like fake it so the kids don't know. The kids aren't stupid. Like kids know, and they know that you're faking. So it's a lot easier to be like, look, me and my mommy and daddy ain't working. You know, okay, but I will let you figure out who your dad is for yourself, and they'll figure out who their father is, right? And it seems like that's what has happened. Were you done?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. Go ahead, Whitney.
So I would say I lost my power in business and relationships, especially family relationships, trying to keep them amends just because they're family. And that was my comment, so I take my power back.
Steps that you feel like you're taking to take your power back.
Well, I definitely focus on me and my health first. Like, I make sure I have soft mornings. I make sure I surround myself with different people and being open to new relationships because family doesn't make you blood. And I can see once I started to take my power back, other people resurfacing like you, and just being more positive, just trying to stay in a positive mindset, just trying to block out anybody that brings negativity to me because I used to be a negative person, so I can sense it as soon as it comes to me, and that's not me anymore.
And so what I would say about that is, based on everything that you all have shared, it's a lot of focusing on you, right? Putting the focus back on you and your desires and what you feel. And what I encourage people to do is, instead of living life from the outside in, live your life from the inside out. Right? Don't allow your environment, whether it's people, whether it's your job, whether it's your situation, to impact your spirit and your soul. Like, they're not you. They don't have to live your life. Right? But, and this is why I love therapy, because we talk about things and really break down the root of such issues. And for me, the way I see it, we were taught to live this way. Right? You grow up, you're raised by your parents, you go to school, you behave the way the school says you should behave. Right? You do whatever your mama taught you to do. You learn from your teachers and you do what your teachers tell you to do. And then you're tested on that to make sure that you know that that's the way that you're supposed to do life. Right? Like, that's the gist of it. And we grow up in this type of system. And so when you get to 18, 19, you're not even living based off of your own wants, your own spirit. You're living based off of what society has taught you. You're living based off what your parents have taught you. Right? And so you have to take a moment to figure out what your process looks like. Right? For you, it's working out. You fell in love with working out. For some people, it's yoga. For some people, it's writing. For some people, it's hair. Right? For some people, it's being creative. It's not hair. It's being a decorator. Being creative. Right? But figuring out those things, because when you're in school, they structure it for you. Right? You have gym. You have recess. You have extracurricular activities, you have art. And so when you're an adult and you have a 9 to 5 and maybe kids, maybe a husband, it's up to you to create that structure and to put that time in so that you can take a moment to reflect with yourself. Otherwise, you're gonna be functioning based off of what people say about you, what people tell you you should do, what society and the government say we should be doing. what social media tells you should be doing, like where you should be, how much money you should be making. That will literally run your life, whether you know it or not. If you don't take the time to check in with yourself and be intentional about figuring out how you want your life to go, how you want your life to live, you're just existing in this world. And it sounds harsh, but it's the reality. You're not taking part in your experience of life. Life is happening to you at that point. You're not living your life. So remember, live your life from the inside out, not the outside in. If anything is not serving you, whether it's a job, a man, a woman, a child, not a child that you know, but some people have complex situations. Okay, whatever it may be, cut it out of your life, right? And whether that means adjusting your priorities, adjusting your boundaries. I'm not saying everybody gets cut off, but figure out what you want your life to look like. And anything that doesn't align with that, why is it still in your life? Right? If you don't want to get calls at 3 a.m. From family members because they need this and they need that, and you the only person that can call, why do we continue to allow people to treat us that way if you don't like it? Right? So, figure out what you want on the inside and make that show up on the outside. Go ahead with it.
I was just gonna say, and when you start to do that, people do not like you, finally getting boundaries. They don't like it because they don't have boundaries. And they continue to allow people to, just wear them down. And because you're not doing that anymore, then you're the villain in the story. So I actually tell people I'm okay with being the villain in the story, meaning I don't have to explain my side. Like, you can think or hear or feel what you want about the story, but I don't have to explain it.
Yeah, and you're not just one version of yourself.
Yeah.
We're humans. We are very complex beings. So if you're expecting me to function one way for the 80, 90 years that I'm here on earth like that, when you say it, it sounds crazy. It doesn't even make sense. Each person that you interact with has a different perception of you. So why are you trying to stick to one? Like, a bunch of my friends are here. They probably each have a different perception of me. They probably each get a different version of me. So why would I try to just be one? Okay, I'm just gonna be like this. No, y'all, I am 50 million people and I'm okay with that. Right? But I have my boundaries. I know where to draw the line. And then I also have my support. I know who I can lean on when I need this, when I need that. Right? Different people offer different things. So, awesome. I think that's all we have in the box. But does anyone want to do we have more time? Anybody want to throw something out there? A question that they're just burning to ask the therapist? Go ahead.
Well, I didn't have a chance to write anything, but I have a pen. But, I really just want to share that I was forced, by my health to put boundaries in place. I have fibromyalgia, and literally stress shows up as pain, head to toe, different types of pain, pins and needles, muscle pain, joint pain, and literally I can be having a heated argument, and I'm literally having the physical feeling in my body of that emotion. And so it got to a point where I didn't have a choice but to start to draw boundaries, and it was so many with so many people, and I had to organize it and figure out, okay, I can't talk about things when it's happening, I have to talk about it when it's not happening. So I have to explain to my husband and have him look up and learn about this illness, and that when I'm saying, hey, let's take a breath and come back to it, I really need you to honor that, because if not, you're hurting me.
But you can't see it. So.
I had to tell my girlfriends, listen, sometimes I'm not gonna be able to drink because of my migraines. And, we all, be like, girl, drink,
Right, because you look fine, girl. What you talking about?
So I had to talk to them like real talk, and say, listen, when I can't come to things, when I already have a guilt that I shouldn't even have about not being able to show up the way that I used to. all of those things I had to have talks. And then I had to seek therapy. And what people don't realize is a lot of illnesses and things that you go through, you need therapy to work through them. Because the brain fog was the one thing. All the pain is bad, but the brain fog took me out because my entire existence was wrapped around being a smart girl. My whole life, I was a smart girl. I was intelligent. So now I'm standing here and I can't tell you my birthday because I had a brain fog. I can't remember my words all the time, and it tore me down. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I had to work out in therapy. Thank God for therapy. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your service. I had to work out that I'm not just a smart girl. I'm a person, whether I'm smart or not. And it sounds so simple, but those are the things, the simple truths that you uncover in therapy that you didn't realize you needed to learn and hear and understand. So I just wanted to say thank you for your service and share like my experience with therapy and how it helps me.
What a story. That's amazing. Anybody else want to share? So everybody's good. This was supposed to be a check-in, so let's check in. Everybody's good. You feeling good? It's Sunday. You ready for your week?
Yeah.
Good. I love that.
I'm sorry, guys. I do want to check in because I get so overstimulated so fast. Like, I don't know. I recently started working at European Rock Center. So I've been working there for going on 6 months now. But before I worked there, like, I could text people and like have conversations. And after I just maybe like a couple weeks in, like it takes me 2 days to respond to people. I don't have like the same mental capacity that I used to have, and I definitely know it's because maybe I'm exerting a lot of energy, watching people all day. I literally don't. All I did for the month of March was this event. I only talked to the ladies, just planning the event because it's just so much. Like I don't know. I get so overstimulated so fast, and I don't know if that's something that I would talk to a therapist about or something that I work with. Like, I don't know how to go about that.
Yeah. I think that could be a variety of things. It could be a lot of things. It's definitely something that you could talk to a therapist about, and kind of discuss some of your symptoms more so they can help you figure out, if it's related to a diagnosis, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be that you're overstimulated from talking all day. I talk all day, so sometimes my friend called me and I literally will text her and say, I don't want to talk. Can you text?
And that's okay.
My friend who is back there, Dr. Ani, she's a speech pathologist. Sorry, y'all, everybody looking at her. But she's like, I'll be like, what are you doing? She'd be like, girl, about to sit down and shut up. Like, when you are in these spaces, especially, it helps to know yourself naturally. Some people are empaths. I feel like I'm an empath. I can feel people's energy right away, and not only that, I take it on. So I have to know what to do with that. And it's taken me a very long time to figure out how to live my life. Being an empath, I didn't pick this life, but it's who I am. This is my gift. I've always been like this, right? I heard somebody talking about different jobs and how it can be therapeutic. Like, I started out as a shampoo girl. Then I did serving. But in all of these capacities, I was talking to people all the time, and people were drawn to me all the time. And so once I started, I used to work for the state for child welfare, and that is a very heavy job. And I noticed that I started to come home and I didn't want nobody to talk to me. I didn't want the TV on. I didn't want to hear nothing. Everybody go away. Everybody get away. I don't want to talk. And I had to figure out that I need moments to reset daily, like all throughout the day. Even when I'm at my daytime job, sometimes I just need to step away and take a deep breath, right? So you have to figure out for your process and the person that you are and the things that you want to do and what your passion is, what does it look like for you to reset? Because you can't, I'm sure them ladies come to get their wax, they probably love you, they can't wait to talk to you, but you don't even want to talk, like, you're drained.
Just a moment of transparency,
Mhm.
guys. When I first coordinated this event, I was having a hard time conducting the phone calls because I was getting overstimulated before I even had the phone call. Or just, I guess, leading or guiding the discussion. And I do think that it's something that I may be stepping into, so it's like unfamiliar, I don't know, or it may be hitting me in a certain way for me to be able to learn and get used to. I do resonate with being an empath and taking on a lot of energy and feeling other people's energy. It started very early for me, like really young, and I did not understand why I could feel these things that other people were feeling or, would share with me. But the older I'm 27 now, so the older that I have gotten, I write a lot, so I just take, I guess, all the things that I'm feeling and try to turn it into something positive, whether it's a poem, a song. I have a book that I write in, and it has a bunch of bananas on it, and I just take it and I just like rant in my book sometimes because it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna take it to Tina and Tom. I'm gonna just take it here and just leave it and get it to God.
But another thing is using sensory tools as an adult.
Okay.
And that came from me working with the students that I work with and figuring out how much I like sensory toys and like how calming they can be. And now I have my favorites that I like personally that help me to either calm down or sometimes you can be understimulated. If you're a creative and you're working a 9 to 5 sitting behind a computer, that's not fulfilling for you.
Right.
So when you get home, you may think it's overstimulation, but the reality was your day was very understimulating.
And you're
And
bored.
you need the ability to get that creative outlet out. So really it's gonna take you sitting with yourself and figuring out what it is. I don't know if you're taking the book with you during the day so that you can, use it in between appointments. But I will also see if using sensory toys help because if you like to do things like this and you're great at it, this was such a great event. I can see how your day may be a little understimulated. It's you're doing the same thing every day. It gets redundant.
Yeah.
You get bored, and so you're probably not overstimulated. You may be understimulated, and so you need to figure out how can I be creative and write poems or whatever it is that you want to do, whatever feeds your passion. How can you do